The QuiltCut has a movable straight edge that slides along the rails on the baseboard. The cutting mat is attached to the base, and the printed grid lines must be in alignment to the straight edge. If they line up in one direction, they will be lined up in the other direction as well. If they are not lined up, you may think that the straight edge isn't square, but all you have to do is readjust your cutting mat. It's easy to realign the cutting mat. Just lift one corner and peel it up off the double stick tape underneath. There are two pieces of tape, so peel up both ends of the mat. Now to position the mat correctly, leave about an inch of space over here by the side rail and about 1/8 of an inch down by the clamp bar. The mat goes almost to the top edge of the base. This leaves us better access around the sides when cutting by keeping the edges of the mat away from the rails. Remember, the grid lines are what's important here. Now before you really stick it down, put your cutting guide back on to make sure the grid lines are lined up perfectly under the straight edge of the cutting guide. You may have to pull the mat up a couple of times to get it perfect. Now double check that the grid lines on the cutting mat line up to the straight edge. Then once you have it positioned correctly, push it down on the double stick tape and you're good to go. You'll know your cutting mat needs to be replaced when it becomes worn or grooved after many cuts. Replacing the mat is easy. Pull the old mat up off of the baseboard and flip it over to the back side. With a little work, you can remove the tape and use the back side of the mat as a separate cutting surface. Get your new cutting mat and we'll put double stick tape on the back side to hold it in place. I purchased this Scotch double stick tape for $5 at a local bookstore. Get the thin type of tape, not the thick foam-backed tape or the heavy-duty carpet tape. And put 2 strips on the back side, 8 or 10 inches long. This will be enough tape to hold the mat down and keep it from moving as you use your QuiltCut. Now after the tape is on, flip the mat back over, but don't stick it down just yet. We need to position the mat correctly before we secure it into place. Remember to leave about 1 inch at the side and about 1/8 at the bottom. Put the cutting guide back on and put the upper edge right over a grid line. Now carefully position the mat so that the grid line is perfectly lined up with the straight edge. Then after the mat is lined up, press down where the tape is to secure the mat. Put your cutting guide back on and double check that the mat is in perfect alignment. And you are ready for your next project.